What's good, good people? You know, this is your girl, Anna Deshawn, right here on E3 Radio, your number one stop for queer radio done right. And today is a special day. The sister's here, Charlene Carruthers. What's going on, Char?
Hey, y'all. Hey. I'm black and alive, so I'm grateful for that.
Yo, okay, because let me tell you, between Dante Wright, the George Floyd trial, we were talking offline. It just feels like a terrible Groundhog Day. It just continues to happen over and over and over again. We can't get out of this cycle. So it is a blessing to be black and alive around here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So y'all already know, Charlene. And if you don't, we ain't going to do no bio situation. We'll be here for the whole show.
Oh, okay? My gosh.
We ain't going to do that to her. Just know she's a writer, activist, advocate out here championing for black queer folks, for organizers, leaders. She's all the things, and we're so glad that she's a friend of the show and a friend in real life. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about your life post the organizing, because you've been busy. You've been in your world. You've sort of taken some time to yourself. And how's that feeling? How's it going?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. I'm happy to be here. All my friends and comrades tell me, Charlene, you'll always be an organizer, because I'm always doing something. But what I don't do that full time anymore. I used to do base building organizing full time. And that has been and will always be an important part of my life and how I think about the world. And right now, I feel super grateful to be able to spend time as a student and as a cultural worker, focusing on the things that I still have questions about and taking more of the things that are in my 50 brains that I have in my head.
How many?
Like at least 50, and putting them down to paper, and then also bringing them to the screen. And so that's generally where I am right now, and figuring out how to, like, as a black queer person, as a woman, as a thinker, thinking about what it means to be alive in this moment where all kinds of stuff is happening. And I think it's also a moment of a potential for great transformation.
Yo, we just had I call her our resident black queer therapist on, just talking about what it means in this moment and what the conversation she's having with people in this past year of COVID and the reflection right, that so many of us have been taking and looking at how we live in our lives and how are we spending our time and where are we giving our energies. And so I heard you say something, a couple things interested me. One second here. Now you saying taking it to the screen. What screen we going to? Where we
So I'm in process of developing my first short film. And it is something that I've actually been thinking about for over a year now. And it was inspired by, or it is inspired by, Saidiya Hartman's book, Wayward Lives, Beautiful Experiment. And that book in particular is about Black folks living like in the 1930s and about Black people's intimate lives. And so I was like, I want to tell a story that connects both the past and the present and exploring Black intimate life. And so I can't say too much about it now because my producer will get me, I will be in trouble with my producers who's like, girl, don't. Yes, I'm not trying to get in trouble, but I can say that it's about Black intimate life. And that to me is always political. And I'm always interested in telling stories about Black people, and in particular, Black queer folks, Black queer women, and Chicago. Like, I'm always interested in telling stories about Chicago. And so film is something that I have been into for a very long time. And I'm excited about, I'm enjoying the process of developing it. I've written the screenplay, and I'm excited about the whole pre-production piece. And once we actually get to the set and doing the work, it's just like, well, but also to be honest with you and anybody who's listening, when I was talking with my producer, and she was like, oh, so what's your role in this? Like, what do you see your role as? I was like, I wrote the screenplay. And it took like 5 minutes or 10 minutes for me to accept the role as director of the film.
Oh,
because I was just like, I don't know, I guess I may want to. And she was just like, so you're the director, you're director and writer. And I'm like, oh, okay, yes. And so even though I'm in this like phase of my life, or this stage of my life where I'm exploring different things, it's still work to like accept my like role as a cultural worker and like take it in and say, oh, I'm gonna direct a film. I'm actually gonna do that. So that's where I am right now.
I love this creative side of you that's coming out. It's sort of it feels good.
Thank you.
Black intimacy. I like all of that.
Yeah.
And everything we do is political. Living
that's right.
For Black folks is political. And I love the fact, I mean, you have a vision for it. So it only makes sense that you would direct it. Because you're going to know exactly how you want that scene to be and what you want it to look like. And
that's right.
People are hungry for content right now. I haven't seen people so hungry for content, maybe because we've been stuck in the house and sick of what's available on all these places. So I'm sure the people listening out can't wait to see where this takes you.
Where we cook up.
This is exciting. Now, I also noticed that you posted about the scholarships.
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about the Black Radical Imagination essay contest? Yeah.
Those quotes, yo. I was like, this is dope. So tell us about that. Yes. Where did that come from?
So a lot of stuff, came up for me last year creatively. I guess.
50 brains.
I thought, I remember being a younger person and seeing the essay contest for like Atlas Shrugged. Like I remember seeing that. Yeah. And I'm like, and then later learning like the book is actually not in like it ain't, I don't share the politics of the book or the author. And I was like, I'm always thinking about different ways to politicize people and engage people in like thinking, my thinking, really their thinking too about the world. And so I'm gonna do an essay contest. And I want it to be about Black life, especially in this moment where so much of the conversation is about Black death. And it's not to talk to, I don't think there's Black life in the world that we like need to like completely take out the experiences of suffering and death. And that is one part of what it means to be Black. It's one part of Black being, one part of Black aliveness. And how can we tell like very robust stories about Black people? And so for the first, so I came up with the Black Radical Imagination essay contest. And we had our first annual one this year. And we awarded 3 prizes to folks, Black folks, and invited them to write about themes connected to my book, Unapologetic, a Black, queer, and feminist mandate for radical movements.
You should just go pick that up if you haven't. Okay.
Yes. It's an audio book. It's on Kindle. It's in English and Spanish, all that stuff. And then the other book we invited people to write about is Darnell Moore's book, No Ashes in the Fire. And so it was those 2 books. Darnell is a comrade, a brother, a friend of mine. I was like, I want people to consider these 2 books. And like laid out some really basic questions. And we got a number of essays back. We got even more people who wanted to participate. We sent out dozens of copies of both of our books. Wow. And we chose 3 winners. And if people want to read the essays, they can go to charlenecarruthers.com/essay contest. Or you can go to my Instagram, Charlene Carruthers, and you'll see a link to the essays and also quotes from each of our essay winners. And they are dope essays. We made them public. And each person was like, they won a monetary prize. Our first prize was $500. The second one was $300. And the third was $200. And then we also had 2 honorable mentions who also received monetary prizes. So, yeah. Nice. And that's just the first one. We're going to do it again.
Awesome. I love it. I was reading through the quotes, and there was the one quote that stood out to me the most was the one that said, "To dream is as integral to Black life as is breathing."
That's right.
And I love that one. First off, because I'm a dreamer. I spend a lot of my time dreaming up ideas, content, music, all the things. And of course, you got to put it into action and all of that. But but you got to start with a dream. You have to have an imagination. You have to be able to think outside of what is around you and what you want to create. And I love that quote. And I love you did an essay contest. You know what I'm saying? Inspiring people to write. I love it. Now, we can't let you lead the show. This is a radio show. We can't let you lead the show without telling us what you're listening to, what's on the playlist, you know, what's keeping you hyped right now.
I am really enjoying Alex Isley. I really enjoy Alex's music. Take us someplace. Like,
let me tell y'all something. Y'all know Shaw can sing, okay? Okay, so you may have heard some of the chants, okay? But don't get her going over here.
Yeah, I really enjoy Alex Isley's music.
Okay.
Who else? I also just sometimes just go on Spotify and let them just play a playlist.
Yeah.
And just like go through that. So that's who I'm listening to these days. Whatever pops up on my playlist.
Yeah.
And I'm still listening to V103. Like,
oh no! Have you made the switch? Have you transitioned to V103?
Where else should I be listening? I don't know. Is it still V103?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I mean, you know, I do listen to V103 because I mean, from time to time, I'm on the GCI for sure because it makes me feel like I'm connected to these young people.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I realize I can't take it, and then then I end up at V103. But what we about to do right now is we're gonna play some Alex Isley. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play some Alex Isley, and y'all stay close. You're tuned in to Wake Up with Anna and Friends right here on E3 Radio. Stay close.